still talking about being sexually compatible. Very important topic. Love this topic. Hope you are loving it too. By the way, please like, subscribe, follow, show some appreciation that you love what I'm talking about so that I can continue to talk. All right. Give me some support. Okay. Would be very, very grateful for it and appreciative of it too. Okay. All right. So sexual compatibility impacts everything in our life, especially when we're talking about relationships. So right now we're going to talk about the variables. Previously, we talked about the new definition of being sexually compatible. Please go back and listen to my talk about being sexually compatible. There is a new definition. And then yesterday, I just had some key points that I made regarding being sexually compatible. And today we're going to talk about the variables. So the variables are really the characteristics, right? What you are, who you are when it comes to being sexually compatible. So what are those factors that play a role in making someone be compatible or incompatible? Okay, so we have the first one, self-awareness. Women are worried about their appearance, right? Women always overthink, and we're always concerned about what we look like. And trust me, I'm a woman. I know exactly what that means. So sometimes when we're doing it too much, it can get in between the relationship, depending on how far you take it. So the point here is that we are very self-conscious, right? They constantly evaluate themselves and think too much about themselves. So we're always evaluating, re-evaluating ourselves and thinking too much about ourselves. So we've got to chill, take a chill pill, right? That's the point here. When we're self-aware, we are trying to make sure that we are aware, truly aware of who we are. Now, remember the quiz, the personality quiz. I'm always going to bring it up. Go and do it if you have not done it, right? Because the quiz, personality trait quiz, will tell you a little bit about who you are in case you're oblivious and you have no idea of who you really are. And if you get that thing from people that say, oh, she has no idea who she is, or you have no idea what you do to people, it means you got to go and study yourself. Get that quiz done. Let's find out what personality traits you have, because that personality trait impacts the sexual compatibility in your relationship. Okay, so that self-awareness, being able to know who you are, is crucial in being able to be a factor to being compatible. So if you know who you are, you have more control of who you are, right? And so that when we're talking about that sexual agreement being compatible, you can have control of what you're going to do in the relationship or what you're going to agree to or not agree to in the relationship when you know who you are. So again, self-awareness, what you are emitting, who you are showing the world, right? How you walk, how you talk, how you express yourself, how you just communicate, right? This is something that you need to be aware of. Whether you get angry easily, whether you shout, whether you scream, whether you ignore, whether you treat people like crap, it all is being aware. So you've got to know yourself. You've got to be aware of whether you're overdoing yourself in terms of being worried about who you are or not even caring about who you are. Again, on that spectrum from one end to the other, do you care too much or do you care too little? Try and be aware, be more in the middle, median, right? And try and be more aware of your self-awareness so that your partner can also learn from you if they don't know about self-awareness and behave in a way that's cordial and responsible and respectful, right? So that self-awareness is important. All right, number 2, mental body image, okay? So your mental body image is, again, important in sexual compatibility because if you have negative thoughts about your physical appearance during sexual intercourse and in general, for example, when you are between the sheets, in the bedroom, right, in bed, you really want to turn off any negative thoughts because it will interfere with your orgasm. And your partner feels it intuitively, right? So you don't want to have a mental body image that is negative, right? And you also want to make sure that other parts of your body, whether it's your weight, your physical condition, how athletic you are, or how unhealthy you are because you're not working out, you're not exercising. Those also come into play when it comes to your mental mind. So you have to be able to know that you have to do the work, right? Work out. You have to be able to go to the gym, get results, because then it will go to the brain and it'll give you that great image that you want to have at all times. Sexual attraction is also a mental body image. How do you feel? Do you feel attractive? Do you feel sexual? Do you feel that your partner is appreciating your body and your attractiveness? Hopefully the answer is yes. Because once you feel that, automatically it's going to go back to him and he's going to feel that confidence that you have. So you want to have that confidence that you are sexually attractive. So that mental body image has to be worked on. When you're in a compatible relationship, when you have confidence, you can demand more things if you want to because of your confidence, and you can actually communicate because you're confident, right? Better what you want in the agreement when it comes to sexual compatibility. Okay, so don't forget, you have to have that mental body image on point. You have to love yourself. I always say that. Number one, you come first. Okay. All right. Number 3, I love this topic, acceptance of sexual behaviors. Acceptance of what you do in the bedroom. Now, I am not going to talk about all the different things you can do in the bedroom because there are so many things you can do in the bedroom. But I want to talk about what the study says. And remind me, if you want the study, let me know. Send me a DM. I will send you the studies that I use to come to these conclusions, okay? So here, when it talks about acceptance of sexual behaviors, we're going to focus on the top ones that really make a difference when it comes to sexual compatibility, all right? So we're not going to go into all the different moves and things you can do in the bedroom. We're going to talk about the important ones that impact the relationship, okay? All right, so for women, this is very, very important. So if you want to get a pen and paper, please do. Vaginal orgasm is important. And you know that's what I'm here about. I am here to talk about the vaginal orgasm. That's what my main focus is, to make sure you can have the biggest, the baddest, the best orgasm in the world every time you have sexual intercourse with your partner, because a lot of women fail to get orgasms or have weak orgasms or basically have them very rarely. So I want to improve that. All these things I talk about is to get that orgasm much, much better. But when it comes to the compatibility, fortunately or unfortunately, so it depends on how you look at it, right? The vaginal orgasm is key for women. Now, I'm always asked, Dr. Kathy, what about I can't have an orgasm without having clitoral stimulation? Throw it in with the vaginal orgasm because you really want to have both, right? Now, sometimes people say they can't have both. Again, there are so many techniques that one needs to know to try and get a vaginal orgasm if you're having problems, but there might be some underlying medical issue, hormones, some pain, some sugar issues, whatever it is, get a physical, go to a doctor that, like me, that does things, that looks at things that are not usually looked at because we know what can affect your orgasm. So find a doctor like me, or get someone that can evaluate you and do the test, especially blood tests to check for hormones and stuff, because that vaginal orgasm needs proper hormone levels. And I see a lot of women that do not have good hormone levels, all right? And when I fix them, they get their orgasm, okay? So having a vaginal orgasm or having what other orgasm you have is important. But the main point here is that the vaginal orgasm has shown or has been shown to be the number one reason for sexual satisfaction, okay? So sexual compatibility is linked to sexual satisfaction. So again, fortunately or unfortunately, we need to have vaginal orgasms. And if you're not, again, you can see doctors like me that can help you get that. But if you're having other orgasms, that's good. But they say that the vaginal orgasm is the one that determines better outcomes in sexual compatibility and in longevity and in sexual relationships, even in marriage, right? So, and I can't really say that I'm surprised, because I'm not surprised, because men want to have, vaginal sex. So that is probably connected to some evolutionary thing that we should have vaginal orgasms. But the point I'm trying to make to you is that you can. Let's find out what your reason is if you're not. And it could be also that you're not compatible. The person that is with you is not able to do things to bring you to that vaginal orgasm. Because remember, I did some talks on it a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. There is the Cove complex, right? The G spot, where you got to go and you got to make sure that it is involved in your either foreplay or your sexual experience, because without it, you're going to miss the spot. Okay, so the vaginal orgasm is number one when it comes to compatibility. So you just get into your head, guys, and men and women, vaginal sex is important. Okay, and if you're not having it, it's going to affect your sexual compatibility. The frequency of your orgasm, meaning how many times are you making love? How many times are you having a successful result of the orgasm? Again, some people are not. Why? Again, you've got to find out why. See a doctor like me. Frequency of vaginal intercourse. So not only the frequency of how many orgasms you're having whenever you're having sex, but how often you're having vaginal intercourse. And I'm going to step in here and say, the more you practice, the better you get at getting your orgasm. The less you practice, the less you're going to have the chance of getting that orgasm, because you're not getting the practice in. So more is better. And I always say 2 orgasms a week, you live longer. Okay, remember, it's been proven if you're having 2 orgasms a week, you live longer. Okay, so that frequency of vaginal intercourse is important. So they say here that predictability increases with vaginal intercourse and orgasm frequency, which is what I just said. So you're going to get more orgasms and you're going to have more sexual compatibility. The more frequent you're having orgasms, the more frequency you're having sex. 1 + 1 is 2. That makes sense. And that is something that men and women have shown in this study. So if you're not, again, convinced, I can send you the study, let me know, okay? Now, for men, frequency of vaginal intercourse is number 1 for them, all right? So again, that's that, compatibility. Can you both agree on the frequency of vaginal intercourse? For them, numero uno, not surprising. So if you deprive it from them, right, you're going to bring up monsters, okay? And we don't want that. So you have to understand and respect what men want. Studies say to be sexually compatible, numero uno, with the sexual behavior is going to be discussed, right? In that agreement, it's the frequency of vaginal intercourse. So I'm going to tell you right now, make sure you guys reach an acceptable number to both of you and stick to it, okay? Make sure you have the number per week, the number per month, the number per day. Now, I do know some people have a lot, but personally, 2 orgasms a week, twice a week is great. Want a little bit more? That's fine, as long as you can fit it into your schedule. But for me, I really think that, when you save it up, it's a little bit more enjoyable when you save up those experiences. And then you can get more of a buildup of, juices for both men and women. So in summary, I like to say 2 times a week. But again, if you want more, that's fine. You want less, that might be an issue. Talk with your partner, reach an agreement, okay? So the frequency of vaginal intercourse, again, I'm going to say it, is number 1 for men. So if there's anything you're going to take home today, it's you got to match what your man wants. You've got to accept. You've got to come to some reasonable agreement how many times. And of course, if it's unreasonable, maybe you're going to have to get someone into the picture to let the person know that it's unreasonable. But for me, at least 2 times a week, and sometimes more if you can handle it. Again, it all depends on the 2 of you. Spouse's vaginal orgasm. I love that that's number 2 for men. They actually want you to have an orgasm. Not surprised, right? But the problem is sometimes you can't. So increase communication, increase compatibility, you're going to get a better chance of having that orgasm because your partner wants you to have that orgasm. But you got to communicate before the bedroom, before being in between the sheets, right? Estimation of spouse's orgasm correlated well with sexual compatibility. So the fact that they can feel assured or even guess that you're going to have an orgasm does play a role too. So they don't want to fear, she's not going to have an orgasm, right? Again, we understand that. But it happens, right? So we need to get that addressed and make sure we can increase your chances I don't care what we've got to do. We can do it to get that orgasm so that you guys are more sexually compatible and happier in the relationship, because that's what happens, right? Now, I threw in here also frequency of non-penetrative sex for men. Now, when we say non-penetrative sex, there are so many things you can do, but you know the main one is oral sex, right? So both for men and women, we both do want a certain amount of that. If this is something that's agreed upon, hey, you're sexually compatible. But if it's not agreed upon, you're sexually incompatible. So again, let's reverse that. Let's get to a point where we can agree on what penetrative, non-penetrative sex you're going to do and how many times you're going to do it. And, just have that conversation, get it in an agreement. I always say get it in writing so that you can be clear and know this is what you want, this is what I want, come to some resolution, and then be happy again in that relationship. So that is very important. Now, I didn't write it on the board here, but masturbation, right? I'm just going to throw that in because it's something that surprised me. Masturbation is a negative impact on sexual compatibility, okay? For women. For men, there was no impact. So if men masturbate, don't masturbate, it doesn't really affect the compatibility, the sexual compatibility. But studies show that if you're masturbating, it is negatively impacting your sexual compatibility with your partner. And I think the reason is because, and I had this happen a few times, some women believe that masturbation is better than penetrative sex. And I don't agree with that, okay? So there's a reason that they're saying that. They're not finding partners, or them themselves, they have issues and they cannot have that orgasm. Now, I'm not going to say that across the board. I'm saying a lot of times I see that. But just note, if women prefer, masturbating and prefer doing it alone, or if you do it with your partner, okay, that's a different story. But if you're doing a lot of it, you're going to find that you are not having a great impact on the relationship. So please take note of that. All right, number 4, personality maturity. Now, you know me and personality. I love talking about personality. Personality traits, factors. They found over 400 personality traits, factors, that really statistically significantly does affect the sexual compatibility in 39% of the cases. 39%, that's a high percentage in this study, okay? So they found that there were so many different problems or issues that arose and either negatively or positively impacted the sexual compatibility. So I'm only naming a few here. Self-awareness, which is the number 1 I said up here, right? That self-awareness, that's a personality thing. So just know, go to the quiz, find out your personality so that you can make it better and make it more compatible, and know how to do that because you know who you are, right? You understand who you are. So self-awareness, the ability to control impulsive behaviors, huge, right? Especially aggressive behaviors, the ability to not blow up, especially in public, right? No. Okay, so being able to control your impulsive behaviors, overcoming emotions, right? Being able to handle disappointments, being able to handle, things that go wrong, right? Or loss, or a breakup. There's so many things emotionally that you can go out of control with. Anger, you want to be able to handle emotions very well. When it comes to personality, remember, go back to who you are and find out who you are, okay? In terms of the 5 personality traits. A high sense of responsibility. It's great for sexual compatibility, being responsible, okay? Warm social behaviors, being nice, being kind, being sweet, being friendly, right? Positive perspective, being positive, having good energy. Focused and independent values, having, independent values, meaning you have your own ideas of what values should be, and you're able to stand firm and say to your partner, these are my values. Now, can they be changed to a certain degree? Again, both of you have to agree. I don't want you changing things negatively, but you want to keep your positive values and be focused and independent, because that shows strength and confidence, which is a plus, right, in a relationship. Personal independence. You've got to have some independence, some personal independence. And, I don't want you to have too much independence. You talk about that again with your partner. How much independence should you have? Because sometimes we women tend to take on the world and break our back. So try not to do that. I know that personally. So remember to have that discussion with your partner so that you know how much to take and how much not to take when it comes to responsibility and being independent. But you do need some independence. And I do believe that it's healthy for partners to sometimes be separated, even for a few days, just to take a break and then get back together again and refresh, okay? Number 5, sexual companionship. So sexual companionship, I think I spelled that wrong. I did. It just looks funny. Sexual companionship, ability of couples to comply with each other's sexual needs. Ability of people in a relationship to agree. Then they become friends. If you cannot agree, you're enemies and you are not showing signs of sexual compatibility. So you really want to get into learning how to agree, acquiesce, right? The other point here for a companionship, which is again friendship, solving problems with sexual differences, being able to solve problems, collaborate to reach sexual agreements, be able to collaborate, right? Collab, right? And understand each other's differences and similarities. Understand, be able to say, you know what, baby, I understand, right? Mutual respect, having mutual respect is very important in that companionship. Acceptance, very important to accept the person as they are. Men and women, you got to accept yourselves as who you are. Forgiveness, being able to forgive. Consideration, be able to consider someone else's point of view. Patience, being able to be patient, let the person finish talking and then you talk. Let the person do something and then you do yours. Patience, right? Crucial, not easy to handle, but you can get better as you practice. Flexibility, being flexible. Okay, baby, this time we can do that. Oh, no worries, no big deal, right? Conversations, having great conversations, being able to talk and not say I'm tired or have a headache, being able to have conversations, right? And the last one I have here is romantic love. I threw in romantic love because romantic love is something, what I say, not part of a friendship, but it's something as part of the relationship. So you want to have romantic love when you're sexually compatible. And the studies do show that if you have romantic love, in addition to all these things that I mentioned, it increases the sexual compatibility and makes the relationship stronger and longer lasting. So don't forget, you really do want to have romantic love in there. And I don't mean to poo-poo it, but I do know that I don't mention it a lot, but romantic love is very important, okay? All right, so those are the variables that are involved in sexual compatibility. I do have another board. Hold on one second. Okay, so this board is just something I want to make sure that you understand very clearly what I'm trying to say. Premarital counseling needs sexual compatibility evaluation and discussion. So they should throw in sexual compatibility evaluations, tests, questionnaires. We're going to get some questionnaires up next. But they need to have sexual compatibility discussions and evaluations and, I don't know, I won't say tests, but at least being able to have an idea of what it is during premarital therapy. Now, a lot of times people are not doing premarital counseling or premarital treatments, but I would encourage it. And I'm saying that we need to throw that in. And if they're not putting it in there, ask them to, because they can, or find a program that can. Because the PrEP program, which stands for Prevention and Relationship Enhancement Program, not the HIV PrEP. This is now for relationships. There is a proper evaluation and a proper questionnaire that they do ask, and you can actually get into the program and they can actually enhance your relationship. All right? Look it up. Amazing when I found it. So please, the PrEP program, if you're having problems and you need some help, I'm advising you, look into prevention and relationship enhancement programs. Quite a few providers do support that. And if you're not sure, let me know. I can help you find some. But the most important point is there is something you can do about it before it's too late. And that's what I want to drive home. You can do something by learning about whether you're sexually compatible or not, and stepping in, getting that agreement, and improving the relationship so much so that you suddenly will be very happy and sexually compatible. Okay? All right, guys. Good to see you. See you next tomorrow or the day after. Take care. Bye.